Check, 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 check. Hobby time, hobby time. Nothing like a little bit of hobby time, impromptu streaming on a quiet Monday night after a big tournament. Actually took today off just to recover. Had a bunch of meetings actually, which was unfortunate. Managed to go to Service Ontario, which usually takes hours, but actually only ended up taking 5 minutes, which was pretty impressive, I gotta say. Showed up, took a ticket, 2 minutes later was in, got it done. Jason, welcome, man. I am building Harlequins. So earlier today I built this guy. It's like a troop master, I guess, just like in the box. Pretty cool model. Then I built this guy. Also very cool. I don't know why it's so dark. I have these massive lights right on top of me and it's so dark. Then I built this guy, who apparently kicks some butt here. Then I built this guy, who is possibly one of the coolest models of all time. Really cool. Let me get light in the back here. That's why it's so dark. Maybe that's a bit better. Yeah, so now I'm just building these guys for my Seer Council army. Yeah, Death Jester is really cool model. And it goes together really cool, like this kind of triple layer. Yeah, it's a cool model for sure. So just was doing some hobbying, so I thought I would just start the stream up and see who's out there, really. See what people are doing on this Monday, snowy Monday. All right, so this just looks like a normal troop. I think, so the scheme, I've never picked up Harlequins because A, I never played Eldar, and B, scared. Oh, random scrub. I guess in the back of our minds, we knew that this was coming, but it seemed like it might have been a reality just because it took them so long to correct it. Unfortunately, reality has sunk back in, so we're back to square one. You can't be too mad, I guess, but you can be annoyed that it took them so long. But yeah, so I'm scared of painting Harlequins because there's no way in hell I'm going to be able to paint the motley, the checkered pattern. No, hell no. I'll not be able to do that. So, but I got a different idea. I don't think, personally, I don't really like that clown look. And I think it can be a lot cooler than that. It can be a more sinister sort of clown. No, I don't mean like making everyone look like the Joker, but it can definitely be a bit cooler and a little bit more grimdark. The Harlequin thing always kind of seemed so out of place to me in the grimdark of the 41st millennium, that you'd have these clowns in literal motley, like going around like killing people and joking. I guess that's a little bit grim, but yeah, like, do people in the 41st millennium even remember what a jester or a clown is? It's kind of weird. So the idea is not to paint motley, and because the motley is not actually in the model, like it's not etched into the model, which would mandate you kind of paint it that way, and would probably make it easier for a scrub like me to paint it if actually etched. But since you have to freehand the whole freaking thing, there ain't no chance that that's happening. So one of the things that that catches my eye in the Harlequins, I don't know if it's in the fluff or whatever, I haven't really read the fluff, but like they have a stratagem, it's called Prismatic Blur. And of course they're supposed to be super fast and they can flip around and do all these crazy things. And so what I wanted to do is actually paint it like a prismatic blur, or some kind of concept where it seems like they're going fast, or like blurry or something like that. So here's my idea, and you can tell me if it's shit or not, because it probably isn't. Even though I have this idea, I have no idea how I'm going to pull it off. But the idea was to... Have you guys ever seen those Tau models, like stealth suits and the ghost keels, which are supposed to be like have this kind of like stealth or camouflage ability? And so basically the paint job is the models in two halves, bottom half and the top half, and the bottom half is just colored like the base, and then there's a transition line across the whole model. It's like some kind of like a field, and then the top half is like the actual model color, that kind of, maybe you might have seen that online somewhere, that kind of paint job. Usually it's for like Tau stealth suits or whatever, or the ghost keel. I kind of want to do that, but instead of bottom to top, because that's kind of like a static, it's kind of static, like the thing is standing there and the camouflage is going up as it sort of as the camo turns on. I guess that's the concept. I want to do it where the front of the Harlequin is like dark, like grim dark jokers. And then the back, as you go from front to back, it turns into like a blur of colors. And that's kind of the concept I want to try and achieve with these guys. And since I've been messing with Liquitex acrylic inks, which if you airbrush, I highly suggest you pick up some. They're super cheap. And you can get them off Amazon, like Prime next day delivery. Because as of right now, nobody stocks them in Ottawa that I can find, but I think Dan is planning on ordering them in because I told him to. But these things are amazing, and they spray really easy even through the Sotar without any thinning. They're very thin and translucent, and they actually blend very well on the model. So I was experimenting earlier. I sprayed something brown, then I sprayed orange on it, and then I sprayed yellow on it, and it ended up kind of green. So it's pretty interesting things. Basically these, you've never seen them before, Liquitex acrylic inks. So they're very watery. You can see they're like just the watery pigmented inks. They come in a dropper bottle, so it's really easy to get into your airbrush, and you just mix them, and you can dilute them down to make them less intense. But they're quite transparent, and they mix very well. So this is a Terminator model I was just spraying earlier just for funsies, and so you see that this first started off all black, then I did a zenithal with the white ink. Focus. White ink, zenithal, that's why it's more yellow. Then I sprayed from below with brown, or umber as they call it. And then I put the yellow, and then I put some orange on the back there. And then I put some yellow right over the whole model. And you see this is where the brown and yellow mix kind of more gradually here. But across this area where there was the brown and the yellow, now it's turned green. It's pretty interesting. So, and these were dry layers of paint. So it's interesting that you can spray like that and blend instead of just covering or influencing, you know what I mean? So that's very interesting to me. So I'm thinking that actually works very well with this concept that I want to do of a prismatic blur. And what I I don't know how to pull it off, but I'm thinking like you paint the front of the Harlequin as is, and then you just using the airbrush just blend it into a bunch of different colors going towards the back. I don't know. I'm gonna have to try it out on a model before I mess these guys up, but that's kind of the concept. If anyone has a better idea of how to achieve this artistic vision that I have, unfortunately I have more vision than talent, let me know. But I think these inks may in fact allow me to achieve this vision, and that might be very cool. So while I'm waiting for Custodes to get a bit of help, I'm working on the Seer Council and Harlequin and Shining Spears list, which is quite frankly would kick the ass out of my Custodes. So yeah, and these are some new. So my hobby goals for this year are to get good with the airbrush, not just priming stuff, but actually base coats and blending, and doing a lot, as much as I can with the airbrush, and then just painting detail and highlighting. So, and the Harlequins is like a super challenge, but really doing the bike. So I just primed once my Seer Council this morning, and priming with white, what a pain in the butt. So it takes like 3 or 4 passes to get a really nice white, and you can see it's still not great, but the seat and stuff doesn't really matter that much. But just on this front part of the jet bike to get a nice solid white prime took a lot of time. So it is an elite army, but not quite like ours. I mean, it's the battalion is already like 16 models just there in itself. And then I've got Guardians and Storm Guardians and Rangers, and then I got the Council, and then I got Spears, I got HQs, and then I got Farseers on bikes, and so actually there's a lot more models than Custodes. And just as hard to kill almost. I mean, there's still 4 pinfall as well. So yeah, so it's gonna be fun. And I think the hobby project is going to be fun if I can accomplish it. It's going to be super fun. These models are fairly easy to go together because they're plastic and they're well made. But man, are they finicky. Whoop. See what I mean? Very finicky. So how is everyone doing this Monday night? I am just chilling out after a busy weekend. No. I'm just going to assemble some kisses and cresses and stuff. Like, I have my list. I'm just going to make the list, and this is not a serious, tournament winning arm. Well, I could win tournaments for sure, but I'm not planning on getting it too crazy with magnets, and I can't personally tell the difference between kisses and caresses and embraces and hugs, and so yeah. So not a big deal if it's not 100% WYSIWYG, and I can't imagine magnetizing these guys because they're so small. No thanks. Yeah, but they go together very easily. So what are people doing? Doing any hobby projects? Now that the new ITC season has started, what are people up to? Painting Tau. Okay, so Random Scrub, you would have totally liked this Tau army that was at Can-Am Team this weekend. So basically, the whole thing was either it was completely converted and or scratch built Tau army. So the drones, it was your typical list, but the shield drones were all kit bashed, like multiple drone kits. So they had like these kind of round shield. You used the tops of drones to act as shields, and put one on each side of like the stock, and then the middle part of the drone was like the missile drone shield or whatever, and then the top was like another cap or something. It was really cool, and he did that for like 50 drones. It was crazy. So actually, he needed like 3 times the number of drones in order to make one drone. It was cool. And then he had Fire Warriors, and they were all scratch built. Apparently, he molded them all himself, and they looked kind of like guardsmen, but in Tau armor. In Tau armor with Tau heads, and it was pretty awesome. Yeah, it was pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. So this was like the coolest Tau armor I've ever seen. And so his Riptides were very cool because he gave them all hands. So you don't. I don't know if anyone's ever seen this army online. It's basically Tau suits and Storm Surges and Riptides, and he's turned them into less robot and more human form. So he put hands on them. He turned the Storm Surge, instead of just like an armless thing with guns, he put arms on them, and the big rail cannon on the top, he was holding it like a rifle. And made them look more like Robotech. It was like the craziest Tau thing I've ever seen. So this guy basically turned his suits into more robotic. So the Riptides had hands, and which doesn't sound like a big deal, but actually it makes it look that much cooler. And so the Riptides were like pointing and like aiming their guns. So the gun arm was like a gun, like it wasn't a gun arm, it was a gun on an arm, and so it was like aiming it like a rifle. And yeah, it was really, really well done and really cool. He would have been up for best painted if he'd actually painted it super well. But like it looked amazing. Yeah, and so that was very cool. That was cool. What other cool armies do we see? So there were some beautiful armies there, obviously. What other cool conversions did we see? We had the usual, like, Thunderfires, just because people are too lazy to buy real Thunderfires. We had the usual stuff like that, but it was pretty cool. Always impressed with the hobby level at our events. It's just amazing. Alright, these guys are pretty finicky, but they go together pretty easily. George, I don't know if you missed the beginning of the stream where I was describing my concept, but I want to do like a prismatic blur concept, so pretty dark on the front, and then as you move through towards the back, so from the front of the model to the back, turning prismatic. So what I might do is, I got these Liquitex inks, and I might just spray a bunch of inks and blotches so that it looks just like a blur of color. As you go backwards. And so a lot of these guys have, these ribbons or capes or things, and so they can just become like a prismatic blur as you go. Not grimdark enough. Yeah, well, I didn't think that the Motley is particularly grimdark, so that's why I went with this kind of concept. It might be cool. It's going to look pretty striking, though, in combination with my Eldar, which is going to be yellow. Bright yellow to deep orange with black stripes, and then the riders are going to be blue, like a deep royal cobalt blue color, or purple. I haven't decided, but I think I'm more partial to the blue. And so that's going to be the sort of army concept on the Eldar side. So it's going to be pretty sweet, I think. George, yeah, there's a guy in Long War TV ages ago who had this amazing looking Quinn's Army purple and black with all these cosmic looking decals. Francois, welcome. So Francois here got me 83, 87 points on the fantasy draft. So good job, Francois. We'll be going over the fantasy draft results on Wednesday. But yeah, Francois did really well, kicking everybody's butts with 3 knights. People underestimating the triple knights now because kind of a lot of people have dropped their knights. But in team format, triple knights still very strong. There were actually a decent number of Knights players, which is an Ottawa thing, but you know, it is what it is. 87 points, that's right, Francois. Good job, man. All right, now I gotta cut some heads. Pre-assembled or assemblage? Mohawks would be nice. Let's see. Yeah, I want hair. Okay, 54 is this beak nose guy with the mohawk, so let's get him. 54. Whoop. All right, you can have that head, dude. And then the next is 57. 57, 57. 57. Triple Chaos Knights or Imperial Knights? Francois went with Imperial Knights. So he had triple Tyrannus Crusaders and then Admech with those 3 annoying tanks, the Scorpius tanks. So yeah, and just so much firepower. And people forget that Knights have so much firepower. And so like with most of the armies these days, if you let him go first, he's going to lay waste to you. And that's pretty hardcore. Guess people on this channel have seen that army lay waste to people many times. Yeah, it's still extremely shooty and strong. Now, will it be supplanted by Guard with the new book? Who knows? Who knows? Maybe. Maybe not. The problem with Guard is -1 to hit still fucks them up. So, you know, if Guard artillery becomes really prevalent, then -1s, -2s, -3s to hit start making a big comeback. Because that's how you stop Guard from hurting you. Make them hit on 5s or 6s. Alright, so I need... 1 is not going to have any crazy hair. 57, 58. Where did 58 go? That was probably on the Troopmaster. 58. Yes, it was. Okay, that's annoying. Okay, so I could pick this ponytail, I guess. Or I pick, like, ribbons. 53 ribbons. Let's do 53 ribbons. Where's 53 ribbons? 53 ribbons. Here we go, 53 ribbons. Knights are good, but point for point, Knights are undergunned compared to tanks. Well, that may be true. That may be true. Especially if Guard tanks getting some buffs. But then, you know, the Knights book is coming as well, so... you know, things will change constantly. What we do know for sure is that everybody can kill Custodes. And that all the stuff that we thought was cheaper is now more expensive again. We know that for sure. So still don't understand why it took them so long to get the FAQ out. So yeah, and you know, Francois is assembling and painting a Talarn army as we speak to be more obnoxious than he already is. Yeah, the Relic Tank Commander now, which is already amazing. Now getting auto max hits is really kind of gross. Okay. Okay, these heads are quite fragile. No, last time I played Harlequins with Custodes, they literally did nothing to me and I just murdered them. But we shall see. These guys really in my list are screens, backfield, harassment, distraction. You know, like you think shooting at these guys you'll be able to take them out easily, but with their stratagems and with a base 4-up invuln, with Eldar shenanigans, I welcome you to shoot my Harlequin troop instead of shooting my spears or my council. Yes, I think guard artillery is going to be nasty. Okay, choice of accessories. Where do these accessories go? Where do these accessories go? Oh, just like on the where do these accessories go? They don't really tell you. Hello, accessories. Yeah, they don't really tell you, but whatever. Okay, less to paint. I'm not gonna put them on. Not gonna put them on. Yeah, if like crazy guard artillery, no line of sight shooting becomes like super prevalent, it's gonna be very annoying for foot slogging, no shooting armies like ourselves. Now, the good thing about it though is -1 does mess them up. The Magnifica banner becomes public enemy #1 again for them. So if that becomes a local thing, we're going to see that banner. I was literally just about to drop it for the attack banner. But if guard shooting becomes heavy again, then that banner is going straight in. Also, a transhuman would be really nice right about now if that's going to happen. Like, really nice. All these wounding on 3s, now wounding on 4s. 4-up invuln. Or 3-up invuln. All right. 5 dudes. Okay. Now, let's see what weapons we need and what the difference is. Okay. So this first troop of 5 requires 2 cresses, 3 cresses, and 2 kisses. So if you look at the stats for cresses and kisses, they're all extremely similar. In fact, it's really hard to tell them apart in terms of like what's what and remember what's what. The caress is +2 strength, so strength 5, -2, 1 damage. The embrace is strength 4, -3, 1 damage, so probably the crest is just better. And the kiss is strength 4, -1, D3 damage, and God, we love our D3s. So they also have plasma grenades, which are only strength 4 anyway. So that's interesting. So I guess just a mix is probably the best way to go, but it's hard to know really. This is what people have been doing online. I'm just totally net listing, so I guess there's that. So we need, oh, what did I say? We need 3 caresses and 2 kisses. Okay, so the caress, what's the caress? Harlequin's embrace, Harlequin's kiss. Harlequin's kiss. Harlequin's kiss, Harlequin's embrace, Harlequin's caress, Harlequin's caress. So the caress is just like a hand with a little thing. I guess if you're caressing, you're using your hand. The kiss is like a shiv. Okay. That kind of makes sense, I guess. Okay, so the hand. So we need 3 caresses and 2. Oh God, I can't remember already. All right, 3 caresses and 2 kisses. I don't even know if they're enough on the sprue. Okay, so we need, these are blades. Don't need any of those. So we need a Harlequin's kiss, 2 kisses. So these are the kisses. These are little shivs. Cool. There's one for you, dude. And then here's another one. All right, and then we need 3 caresses, which are these hands. Okay, and there are not enough. Great. Great, great. That's annoying. So, if you look at the embrace, yeah, so it's only 2 caresses per kit. That's great. So, but if you look at the embrace, it is basically the kiss. So there's like a little pod on the wrist, but then there's like a missile sticking out, which is the embrace part. So all I'm going to do is take an embrace and cut the little missile part off, and then it's going to look like a caress. Boom. There we go. Now you tell me from the edge of the table if you can tell the difference. I don't think so. Okay, so there we go. There's 3 caresses. They're not annoying to assemble, Francois. They're just small. It's not any more or less annoying than freaking Sisters of Silence. So there you go. And they all need shuriken pistols. Sisters of Silence is annoying. Especially if you did what I did, which was just cut all the arms off because you thought that they were all the same because they all look identical. But in fact, they're all just slightly different enough to piss you off and mess you up. So yeah. Don't do what I did, which is just to cut all the arms off. Follow the instructions. It's also funny that the 40th Millennium is extremely right-handed. Anyone notice there's not a lot of left-handed, important weapons. So for the Custodes people watching, if any of you are out there, there's only one kit that has a left-handed, like solo left-handed, not two-handed, solo left-handed weapon. And that, I believe, is the Guardian, or there might be the Wardens have a spear that's left-handed, and an axe that's left-handed for the Vexilla. Yeah, I hate T3 models in Custodes armies, but not in Eldar armies, obviously, because the whole army is hate T3. So, no biggie. I have Sisters of Silence. I bought a set when they first came out because I thought they were cool and I thought they might be good, and then they turned out not to be. So, that was also in 7th, I believe, when Sisters first came out, and stopping Invis and all this shit was like a real must do. The Psychic Death Star, which apparently Grey Knights are now, so that's fun. 5th edition again. Alright, this arm is super fiddly. Alright, there we go. So here's our dude with a shuriken pistol and like half of the embrace, but with the little missile bit comes off, so now it looks like a crest. And he's about to punch the guy instead of caressing him. So there you go. And we're gonna slap him on his base, and he's good to go. He also looks like he's going to fall. Fall forwards. It's kind of weird. He's like all off balance. It's like totally slanted. Oh, yeah. That's exactly how he's supposed to be. Slanted over like this. But his head's supposed to be looking the other way. So that's why my guy just looks like he, instead of, maybe I can still move that. Instead of dynamically dashing and avoiding that hit, yeah, his head is turned that way. So now he looks like he's just falling over. So, yeah, that's funny. Let me see if I can still move this head so it doesn't look so stupid. Okay, that's a bit better. Okay, so now he looks like he's actually going in the direction to which he's leaned instead of just looking like he's falling over. Okay, dude, you're good. Oh, that's pretty crazy still. Okay. Okay, that was funny. He's like, whoa, I'm not very acrobatic. I didn't pass my troop test. Literally just looked like he was falling over. So the one thing when models have these arms that just stick on, they just stick on to, oh, I haven't been doing the mold lines on these. When they just stick on instead of like there being a slot, you find that they can look really weird if you don't get the shoulders lined up. The models look really weird. So make sure you get the shoulders lined up. It doesn't matter for the ones where there's a slot. I'm actually being very diligent with mold lines for these guys for some reason, contrary to my normal practice. It's turning over a new hobby leaf this year. Trying to be really good hobbying. That's kind of a weird arm layout. It just looks like he's trying to grab you. Well, I guess he is. It's the Harlequin's embrace, caress, whatever it is. His arm just doesn't seem to fit in very nicely. I guess that's good. Looks kind of funny. But anyway, these models are kind of funny. I wish they would just make divots so that they can be positioned as they're supposed to be. Alright, if you ever have to rebase these guys, it's going to be a pain. Is that Citadel mold tool better than something like a nail file? Yes. On my previous hobby stream, I don't hobby stream very often, but when I did my previous hobby stream, I I did give a big shout out to the Citadel mold line remover. It's expensive, it's like $35 or whatever, but I think it's worth its weight in gold. In all the time I've been hobbying, uh, this is still the original I bought, so it's like 4 years or whatever. So it's very strong. It's very well made, very tough. There's nothing that doesn't break, and it can be as sharp or as gentle as you want, just depending on how you angle it. And it's really good at removing mold lines. Go figure. And you just scrape, and it's especially good at Forge World for flashing because resin is kind of softer than plastic, and you really easy to smooth things out and to get stuff off of resin. But even for plastic, it's just great. It's just a nice little tool, and yeah, it's great. If you need to file something, then file something, get a file. But if you're just doing mold lines or those little sprue bits, just use that. It's really good. And then yeah, some people use a knife. Ugh, why would you risk like cutting yourself when you can just use this and you never cut yourself with this? So yeah, I don't know why people use knives. So, these mold lines here, you just kind of do that and it's gone. It's very easy. I'll try it. Four or five times. One of these times is going to be a big one and you lose a finger. All right, so what do people think, if there's anybody here who was on when I was describing it, about my painting concept for these guys? Come on, Francois, I'll just get one of these, man. Okay, no big deal. People complain about the expense of these things, but really, it's not when you think of the longevity and you think of how much you spend on like a single pot of contrast paint. Isn't it like $10 or something crazy? So it's all relative. It's all relative. People just like to complain about things if they can. So I don't know if anyone here listens to TFG Radio, which is basically Adam Solis and Salty John and those guys down in the West Coast there who do all the judging for LVO. So they were just their recent episode. Check it out, TFG Radio. They do a live stream as well as, and they just release it as a podcast. But they were talking about the BCP fiasco, of course, at LVO. Mixing in white or black inks to your colors might desaturate your muted colors. Yeah. So the thing about these Liquitex inks, they're really cool, is you can, if you dilute them with thinner, they get less intense. So even though the yellow is very bright straight out of the bottle, if you dilute it with thinner, we're talking 1 or 2 drops of yellow with a whole crap ton of thinner, actually is a very light yellow. But it maintains a brightness, but it's not as yellow, if you know what I mean. It's hard to describe. So that's one way. The other way, then I just bought it and it's arriving tomorrow, is they have a series of their colors that are called muted line. These are like muted colors, and so they're like the same colors, but they're muted and less shiny and intense. And so that looks like a really cool thing to try out. So there's a couple of things I'm going to try out with these Liquitex inks. But just from messing around with them today and spraying them, they're super easy to spray, require no thinning. I didn't have like a single airbrush clog, and it was just a joy to work with them. And the white doesn't splotch. The white ink is like really good. It doesn't splotch. Super good. Is that guy underhanded? Looks like he's underhanding it. It's kind of a weird pose. Well, I guess it fits with his knee up. Brother Captain Ben. Is that you, Ben Lorty? Yeah, so I was just messing with these inks today. They're really cool. Um, so I'm hoping that my concept will work out. Gonna have to spray this Terminator model a little bit just to experiment when I get the muted paint colors, but it's gonna look pretty cool. But anyway, I'm doing my Seer Council first, which are not gonna be muted. They're gonna be freaking bright yellow. Warm, bright yellow. So I think I'm just gonna do orange with yellow on top, so that I don't get this green mixing, which I tried today. That's why I wanted to try that out. So the concept is going to be yellow with like a brown rider seat, but I'm going to put orange in these grooves here, this groove around the central bit, and then a little blending in orange from the tip along the base here like this, and then yellow over the top, hitting these high points with the brightest yellow. And then the wings are going to be like yellow with orange on the inside here. And then these things. So it's going to be pretty cool, I think. It's going to be cool. And then the riders are going to be blue, like cobalt blue. Like I'm thinking that's more blue-green, but yeah, I ordered a couple of blues today. There's a muted blue. There's a cerulean blue, which is really nice. Kind of bluey turquoisey, kind of like Baharoth. And then there's a cobalt blue. And so I'll have a nice combination of blues to kind of mess around with when I start doing the riders. I think it's going to take me a while to finish these bikes because I want to do them really well. I want to make them look fantastic. So it's probably going to take me a while to do the bikes. Yeah, I'm excited about this prismatic blur concept though for these Harlequins. I think if I can pull that off even kind of, I think it'll look cool. But, you know, the question is, can I pull it off? Can I even stick this arm on this loser? That's the question. There we go. Probably going to take me a whole year to paint this Eldar army, but it's going to be cool when it's done. This guy looks like he's trying to hug you. Oh, hug, hug. Or as my daughter would say, huggy, huggy, huggy. She just goes up to random people and is like, huggy. Alright, this guy's like dashing away. Pretty cool. Oh, Ben. I need to get some Tau revenge. I'm gonna bring the hard stuff for you. Yeah, Tau don't like -3 to hit, do they? And for them drones, you just need mass shots. No AP is fine. Mass shots. In fact, this army is specially for Tau. Special Tau surprise just for you. And yes, you can believe your ears. Ben has in fact painted his own army, and he will be bringing it on stream at some point. Although I did ask him to paint 5 more racks for my Drukhari. For the other version of my Seer Council, which is Chris Blackham's version, which is just Seer Council and Drukhari, which is also a very interesting list. This person's body just broke off, which is annoying. These guys are very fiddly. Put some more glue on this guy. Stick you back on, buddy. Oh, this guy's got like a cool little biker jacket on. Pretty cool. Building those racks as I watch. Very cool. Do you need the color scheme again, Ben, or you got record of it somewhere? Greenleaf Terrain. Is that Adam joining us? Adam. Here we go, man. Thank you for your nice, amazing looking terrain. So I asked you guys, most of the terrain that I use on the stream is actually made by Adam. So the really nice Night Haunt terrain, that's Adam. The snow terrain, that's Adam. One of the other ones is Adam. Anyway, he makes amazing terrain. Look him up, Adam at Greenleaf Terrain. So he was making me another terrain set, and then the LVO published their top 100 table terrain guideline, and he hadn't started mine. So I'm like, Adam, can you make me a set of terrain exactly the same as they have at LVO for the top 100 tables, but make it look nicer. So he did, and so here's one of those walls that they have at the LVO, those tall walls. That's pretty tall. Here's a little Harlequin dude, but of course it looks amazing. And they have these little crates, but Adams look amazing. And so I got like a bunch of these, LVO walls, which are just really nice looking rocks. And then of course LVO has the trees, so I got some trees. And LVO has the big L runes. And so now I have a couple of big L runes that look amazing, yet are completely functional. So thank you, Adam. Excellent stuff. So if you need terrain, hit up Adam. And maybe people don't remember, I think maybe 2 or 3 CCBBs ago, speaking of painting yellow, but Adam, I believe he won Best Painted Army with a extremely beautiful Imperial Fists army with a display board with a waterfall on it and everything. And the thing about this Imperial Fist army, not only was it beautifully painted yellow, but it had black and white checks on it as a pattern, and which is crazy. Painting black and white checks with a yellow army, that's like combining all 3 of the hardest colors to paint, and all the black and white checks were like highlighted, and it was crazy. It was amazing. Actually, so when I decided to paint my Eldar yellow, actually that army came into my mind as the inspiration. There we go. 5 troop done. Oh, as Lamenters. Okay, well, it looked like Imperial Fist. Never mind me. It looked like Imperial Fist. Okay, so we are done. 5 dudes. So we need to build 6 more dudes. Okay, so that's interesting. So actually, you're supposed to use specific weapons for the specific guys, but I just mix and match them, which is why my guys look kind of weird. But actually, it's kind of cool. So we're going to build 2 more boxes of these guys, and then we'll be good to table some Tau. Anyway, that was just my little hobby stream tonight. I'm going to go to bed early because I got a long day at work tomorrow. Thank you very much for joining me on the stream, guys. Our next stream will be Wednesday. We'll be doing the podcast wrap-up of Canhammer Team. We're joined by Yoshi. We'll be wrapping up our fantasy draft. And that should be super fun. So join us on Wednesday, guys. And